Imagine you wake up on a Tuesday morning, perform your usual routine, and head out to start your day. You feel the cool morning air and the promise of a productive day ahead. Everything seems normal. You stop at your favorite local cafe, order a coffee, and tap your card on the reader. Declined. You try again. Declined. A small seed of confusion begins to grow in the back of your mind. You think it's just a technical glitch, a momentary lapse in the digital ether. You walk to a nearby ATM, but the screen is dark, displaying a cold, bureaucratic message. Service temporarily unavailable. No cash. You open your banking app, but instead of your balance, you see a spinning icon that never resolves. Or worse, a notification stating that withdrawals have been suspended for the protection of the financial system. You look around and realize everyone else in the cafe is staring at their phones with quiet panic. This is not a scene from a dystopian novel. This is the reality of the 2026 bank freeze. A systemic lockout that has been decades in the making. Why is this happening now? Why today? Why does it feel like the money you worked for, the numbers on your screen, have vanished into thin air? The security you felt was merely an illusion. The numbers are gone and the doors are locked. There are many theories in the media, ranging from cyber attacks to simple technical errors. Chaos reigns. But today, I am going to peel back the layers of this crisis to show you the structural truth. We are going to explore why your money was never actually yours to begin with. It was always a debt. I will present 3 key pillars to explain this silent collapse: the fragility of fractional reserve banking, the legal reality of the bail-in regime that turned depositors into involuntary investors in failing banks, and the transition toward a programmable monetary system that requires the freezing of the old one. By the end, you will understand this was not an accident, but a feature reaching its conclusion. Do you understand the weight of this? Are you ready to see why the financial engine has seized up? Let's begin with the misunderstanding. What happens when you deposit money into a modern bank? You put your money in, it sits in a vault with your name on it, and you just go and get it, right? But is that how it actually works? Not even close. In reality, it is no longer your property. Legally, you have given that bank a loan. You are now an unsecured creditor to a massive corporation. The bank takes your money and immediately lends it out for a mortgage, a car loan, or a trade. Think of it like musical chairs played with trillions. As long as the music plays, it looks stable. But what happens when the music stops? In the past, a bank run was slow. People stood in line. Today, a bank run happens at the speed of light. It happens through apps and wire transfers instantly. In 2023, billions were moved in hours. By 2026, information has outpaced liquidity completely. When a whisper of instability spreads, the entire reserve can be depleted before the CEO finishes coffee. Why trust a system where the exit doors are so narrow that only 1% can get out at once? To understand 2026, we look at an experiment from 2013, Cyprus. The system was on the verge of collapse. The government didn't have bailout money. Instead, they pioneered something called a bail-in, confiscation. Global leaders said it was unique. But guess what? These laws were soon written into every major economy, including the US, UK, and EU. This is the second pillar, the bail-in regime, a legal trapdoor. Do you understand the trick? Why were we never told that our safety net was replaced by a trapdoor? But the gym sold 10,000 memberships and only has 10 treadmills. If everyone shows up, it locks. The manager tells you your fees are buying more treadmills, but you can't use them. That's the system. We created a mountain of digital claims on a molehill of assets. In 2026, the mountain started to slide. But why now? To answer that, we look at the rise in interest rates as central banks fought inflation. As rates rose, the value of those bonds plummeted. Largest banks are now already underwater. Insolvency. They are zombie banks, kept alive by accounting tricks and government guarantees. Walking dead. In 2026, those tricks hit a wall. A global event acted as the catalyst. Reality became impossible to hide. A sovereign debt default or a commercial real estate collapse. Suddenly, market value could not be ignored. A freeze in one place creates a freeze everywhere through the interbank lending market. It's a massive pileup. Does this feel unfair? It should. We were pushed toward a system where every transaction is permission-based. When you use cash, it's final. With digital, you ask for permission. In 2026, that permission was revoked. The off switch is held by a few unelected people who prioritize system stability over you, power. We are seeing the total breakdown of trust. This is the third pillar, the illusion of permission. Gone. Think about counterparty risk. When you hold money in a bank, your counterparty is the bank, a chain. When that bank's counterparty is another failing bank, the chain becomes a noose. In 2026, it tightened. When that bank's counterparty is another failing bank, the chain becomes a noose. In 2026, it tightened. But there is a deeper layer: CBDCs, Central Bank Digital Currencies, controlled directly by central banks. Some analysts believe this is a controlled demolition to force people into this new digital cage, a trap. If the old banks are broken, you will accept a rescue in a government-issued digital wallet. But at what cost? This new money comes with strings. It is programmable. It can be tracked, expired, and restricted. Total control. If you cannot buy food without approval of a centralized ledger, are you still a free citizen or a subject? We are standing at a threshold where human freedom is being redefined through monetary access. A dark shift. The 2026 freeze is the ultimate stress test. It forces us to confront our foundation of debt and illusions. We traded the tangible for the convenient, and now we pay the price. Is there a way out of this trap? A frightened population is a compliant population. This is the shock doctrine applied to your bank account. The plan is about replacing money with something else, moving from money as an asset to money as a service. Your savings have been systematically inflated away for decades, a record of government debt to you. The freeze of 2026 is the final step in removing the last vestige of independence. Physical cash, gone. CBDC is global script. Programmable money means the issuer decides where and how you spend it. Total rule. It means the issuer can decide where, when, and how you spend it. It is programmable digital script for the masses. By the time the CBDC is offered, you are so exhausted that you will accept any terms. The trap closes. Desperate for any stability, you trade privacy for bread. This is the psychology of the 2026 freeze: exhaustion. We see tiered access. High compliance scores get script for essentials. The freeze is a filter for obedience. In 2026, we see tiered access. High compliance scores allow withdrawals for essentials. It's a filter for the state. But what is the alternative? Rise of parallel economies, turning back to basics, tangible value, networks. Have you heard of learned helplessness? Forced to endure pain, you eventually stop trying to avoid it. Passive. Money is a tool we use to exchange value, not just something government creates. We find a way to survive. The state criminalizes unauthorized currencies, building a digital wall around the economy. No escape allowed. Power to deplatform you from the economy itself. Precursors in Canada and the UK. Now the rule. Panopticon. The freeze is re-education, teaching the public that access to money is a privilege, not a right. Lesson learned. What is the alternative? Rise of parallel economies, turning back to basics, tangible value, networks. If you don't control the fruits of your labor, do you own your life, or have you become sophisticated property? The mask falls, revealing technocratic collectivism. The individual is sacrificed for the stability of the elite. The state can freeze your bank account, but they cannot freeze your mind. They cannot restrict your thinking. If you don't control the fruits of your labor, do you own your life, or have you become a sophisticated form of property? The more you diversify away from centralized failure, the less power the freeze has. Find your counter strategy. Now we trade freedom for emergency stability. The freeze is the final test. Have you forgotten how to be free? What happens when banks never reopen in the old form? You choose a user in a cage or a free citizen. The era of passive trust is over. We cannot outsource survival to institutions that don't care about us. Wake up. If the answer is myself and my community, then you have a path forward through the freeze. Together we stand. Reclaim money, value, and what it means to be a sovereign individual. This is a spiritual wake-up call. Trust. The freeze is a sign of weakness, not strength. Last-ditch effort of a failing order to maintain its grip. Failing. As you look at service unavailable, feel clarity. The illusion is broken. The hidden history is now visible. Truth. When you see the service unavailable message, don't just feel fear. Feel clarity. The illusion has been broken for all. The secret plans are exposed. Now, what are you going to do? Will you wait for permission to live or start building your own life? The lecture is over, but the work is just beginning. Stay awake. The dawn belongs to those who can see through the dark. The night is long, but the dawn belongs to those who can see through the dark. This has been a special report from Global News Agora. The reset has begun, but the outcome is in your hands. Thank you for watching our deep dive into the 2026 bank freeze. Global News Agora.